Are we live? Okay. I mean, this could all be.
Yeah.
I think that's the cool thing is we don't have to be
rigid.
Yeah, because you can cut all this out.
Yeah. Or I can keep it on.
This will be like a blooper reel.
This is the intro.
Yeah, it should be. And keep in mind that we are completely ignorant and uneducated on everything we talk about.
Yeah.
So we're not trying to act like we're experts on any of this.
We are not.
So we're going to talk about the different things that would cause tension in bands, within the band, like behind the scenes, behind closed doors.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I think happens a lot. You wouldn't know, just seeing things on Facebook or going to shows, but there is a lot of bullshit going on.
For sure.
You got anything to start off here? I mean, you've been in a lot of bands, and what do you think's the biggest causer?
The biggest one, usually it's a lack of communication, miscommunication.
Yeah.
And
that's usually the biggest problem with everything.
Yes, and lies.
Now, also a lot of it back to the drinking.
Yes.
Again, this is usually any problems usually could be tracked back to having too many drinks and fighting about stuff at the end of a show or something.
And I think that too, that goes into the lack of communication. If people get frustrated with things or irritated with shit in their own lives, whatever, and they don't talk about it.
Yeah.
And then you drink and it just kind of comes to a boil and it explodes. That happens a lot.
Yeah, I've done that.
Yeah, absolutely. So have I.
I used to love doing that. Now that, me and my business partner, Glenn, life partner.
Don't get the guys on Instagram too excited.
So we put some bands together, and but we've had a pretty good policy of anytime we see anything brewing, we try to attack it, not attack it, but address it immediately. And sort of say cut it off before it gets bigger.
Yeah.
And it's exactly what you're saying. I think if you people have a hard time talking to each other for some reason.
Yeah.
When it's something bothering you and about somebody else, it's hard. They just, like you said, they could do it when they're drinking, but it's hard to do it
when there's
in the
sober.
afternoon.
Yeah.
When it needs to be addressed.
Yeah.
So I get that, but I would say that is probably number one, communication. One thing that I've seen a lot of times is sometimes a couple guys in a band will be talking to the same girl at the same time, but they don't know.
Yeah.
And then once it becomes apparent, that's a problem.
That's a problem.
It's
I don't know if I've ran into that personally. I mean, I'm sure it's happened. I just haven't personally run into that.
Well, you've had a girlfriend a lot of the time.
That's true too. Yeah.
But just imagine, you're talking to somebody for a length of time, maybe not dating, but you hang out here and there, talk, blah blah blah. But she's also talking to other guys in your band and maybe a few guys in another band.
Groupie.
Groupie. And this goes both ways. So if you're, a girl in the band, you might have guys in other bands talking to you at the same time as well. Yeah. And it's almost like a big web of just ridiculousness.
It's like incestual.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a very small, the band scene is very close knit. I mean, everybody knows everybody talks here and there, and eventually everybody finds out about everything, I would say.
This is true.
Yeah.
Everything is very transparent after a certain amount of time.
Yeah. Yeah, so other parts of that would be, there's a lot of things, because I look at a band, it's obviously a family, and, you can look at your own family, and, I fight with my brother, my sister, you're fighting with, so it's the same thing. There's going to be arguments, fights. You got a lot of different personalities, different views, opinions, and it is hard.
We'll be right back.
New Year's Eve, 115 Bourbon Street, the hair band night, front stage, and rendition in the saloon. And the big room is basically a giant nightclub, all DJs, all of our main DJs, which it'll be great.
Yeah, it'll be awesome.
The regular price is $75, and 115bourbonstreet.com. It's right in the top of the link. It's easy to buy the tickets. The package is insane. It includes everything basically, except for like super top shelf stuff like Johnny Walker stuff.
Yeah.
Red Bull's included, imports. There's a buffet for dinner. Then they put another buffet out later with breakfast stuff on it. There's hotel packages available with shuttles, confetti blasts. The package runs from 9 till 1 a.m. So it's, what is that, 5 hours?
Yeah.
And we sort.
4.
Is it 4 hours?
I think it's 4 hours. Yeah.
We don't do math on
No,
this. This
no,
is
no.
math free on this podcast. So check that out, because Bourbon's New Year's are always, it's a great deal, easy, close to home if you live in the suburbs. Mm-hmm. Once again, that's hair band night, doing 80s hair metal. You're in that band.
I am. I will be there.
Is that right? Okay.
I will be there.
He will be here. I will be here. Eric Ortiz will be here, most likely late, but he will get here. So check that out, bourbonstreet.com, New Year's Eve. And keep in mind that we are completely ignorant and uneducated on everything we talk about. So we're not trying to act like we're experts on any of this.
We are not.
We now return to your regular programming.
And the communication is important. I think the bands that stick together and have been around the longest have found a way to navigate that and, have that openness to talk about stuff, But you got to be careful you can't have everybody talking to the same girl.
No.
You got to be careful with that.
I'd be pissed at that. I mean,
and really,
but who are you pissed at? Are you pissed at the girl? Are you pissed at the guy?
It's just, you're almost just mad at the situation, because it's nobody's fault. It's just, nobody's exclusively dating anybody, so, you talk to whoever you want.
Yeah.
So it's just, you got to be careful.
But that's where, and then that gets into, I've heard the term guy code used quite a bit, and it's like,
which I don't know if, guy code, but I don't even think no one cares about that.
I don't think it should matter. I mean, unless it's like you're in a band and you start dating like the prior guy's like ex-wife.
Yeah, maybe not.
Like
maybe I would suggest avoiding dating anybody that used to date somebody in your band or married to. That I would say
seriously dating, not just we hung out a couple times.
Yeah,
that's not dating.
Stay away from that situation, because that's a disaster waiting to happen.
Yeah. I've crossed paths with that before.
It's hard not to.
Yeah.
I mean, it really is.
Yeah. Especially when you don't know who everybody's talking to.
Yeah.
With a couple guys in the bands that I've been in, like, we have that relationship where we talk about everything.
Yeah.
But you don't always have that with everybody in the band, so you don't know who the hell they're talking to.
Yeah.
But that can definitely lead, that on top of the drinking excessively, I think we should say. I've been a part of a couple situations where I've seen things come to blows, fucking chairs getting thrown around the green room and all that shit.
Yeah.
And it's all based around booze.
Yes, for sure. Man, because you've seen bands come and they go, they break up, they change members. Mm-hmm. Sometimes just a guy doesn't fit in a certain band. Yeah. There's a lot of different factors that could cause tension within a group.
Yeah.
But that's why I think it's important for, there has to be somebody in a leadership role in the band to sort of make decisions. Otherwise, it's sort of just chaos. If you got, you want to have, you take everybody's opinion, but I think it's important to have somebody able to make tough decisions at some point if things need to be moved around or whatever. At least that seems to work for what we got going on.
I mean, and that goes into what we said before on prior podcasts, that it is a job. This isn't just a hobby. So at any job, you have a leadership triangle, and you have somebody that has to make those calls. And I wouldn't want to be a part of any band that didn't have somebody that made those calls. Otherwise, it would be complete chaos.
Yeah. And again, that's the difference between, bands that are doing this to make a living versus bands that are doing this for fun.
Yeah.
The bands that are doing it for fun or hobby, they enjoy it. This really doesn't apply.
Yeah.
This is really just more about the bands that are, this is like a business, basically. So, I feel like almost at all times, it's, you're just constantly trying to keep everything under control if you're in the leadership role. And it's, you got to find that balance of, getting everybody's opinion and take, but also, at the end of the day, you want to do what's best for the group or what you think is best for the group.
Right, which in a lot of cases, not everybody will agree with.
Usually never.
Yeah.
That's why you got to say, that's why you have the leader says, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
And you know what? Sometimes maybe he's not right, but at least you decide on a direction and you go with it.
You commit to it.
Yeah. And sometimes that's all you just need to know. People just want to know, what are we doing?
Yeah.
And it's that simple.
We'll be right back after this message.
So this week, we got 2 big shows at Bourbon Street, 115 Bourbon Street.
Yes.
Thursday, Judah and the Lion is in the Performance Hall with WKQX and Coors Light, presented by Coors Light. So the deal with that is it's a free show, but you could print out a guaranteed entry ticket if you just go to WKQX's website. And I believe for the guaranteed entry, it's between 6 p.m. and 7 p.m. I would imagine people are going to start lining up pretty early for this one. And we're expecting, I'd say 1,000 people for this show. It's gonna be a big show. And it's a full show. This ain't bullshit. They're playing for...
Like a regular set.
Yeah. It's, I want to say, I believe it's like a 75-minute set or so. So basically a full set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Z105.
And we're back!
And keep in mind that we are completely ignorant and uneducated on everything we talk about. So we're not trying to act like we're experts on any of this.
We are not.
We now return to your regular programming.
And then in a lot of cases where if over time one person doesn't really abide by that or doesn't care for it, then that's when the separation happens. And
well, that's the worst, isn't it? Like when you start, some guys in the band maybe become more distant and they sort of like don't, they show up, they don't really talk to anybody.
Yeah.
And they kind of keep to themselves. That's not good. It's not good. You want to maintain like that, nice, fun atmosphere.
The chemistry,
exactly.
Yeah.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Which I think that's good. I think like bands that play constantly, and the guys are always together, like every weekend. Like you when you're traveling, you've been in bands like every weekend you're in the van driving all over the goddamn place.
Yeah.
And it's hard to be around people for that
long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it's easier. It's like for some bands that maybe only play a couple times a month, and they come together.
Totally different story.
Yeah, it's different, right? It's easier because then it's like, I'm glad to see you. I haven't seen you in a week or two.
Yeah.
How's it going?
Yeah.
The alternative is I'm fucking sick of seeing you.
Yeah.
You smell like shit. It's
Absolutely.
like leave me alone. And you almost start to know too much about everybody, and it's like you want some distance.
And I was in, like you said, in prior bands where it was every weekend, and like a couple of the guys that I was buddies with in the bands, like we were the tighter of the group, whatever.
Yeah.
There were times where we get frustrated and we would just fucking fight. I mean, we would wrestle, be like, all right, let's just fucking do this.
Well, sometimes I think sometimes you have to fight it out.
Yeah.
We've had guys, under our umbrella. If there's something, go take it in the other room.
Yeah.
Say whatever the fuck you got to say to each other and get it out of your system.
Yep.
And then shake on it and then, get back to business.
Call it a fucking day. Yeah.
Because sometimes that's all you need. You just need to, go off to the side, tell each other to fuck off, and say what you got to say, and then it could be done.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, I've gotten into blows like that, at shows before. But at the end of the day, you have to go up there, you have to go on that stage, and you have to do your job.
Yeah.
And not convey that tension or any of that frustration, you know.
Which makes it even harder. So if there is tension, is it gonna show on stage? And
Right.
sometimes it does, and that's obviously very bad for a band.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it's actually very simple. Just at the end of the day, like you said from the very beginning, it's just really you got to have a good communication. If you're having a problem with somebody in the fucking band, you take them off to the side and,
Yep.
and you hash it out. If it can't be fixed, and then you find a solution. Somebody has to leave the band. Somebody has to leave the band.
Yeah.
And then they can go on and do something else and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I mean, and sometimes that has to happen.
Yeah.
It's very rare to see bands that have had the same lineups. There are some, but it's hard.
It's rare
to find that. Like,
It's rare.
and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. People come, they go. It's not like everybody's retiring on this. So, people get things come up in their lives. They have kids or they got a new job, and they have to leave the band, and then you bring new people in,
Yeah.
and blah blah blah. So it happens. So. There's a lot of, just to recap, there's a lot of shit that causes tension and within the bands or bands to break up.
And especially with just being, like, musicians are already, like, they're like a special kind of crazy. Our minds work really fucking weird. So, especially, like, when you have the bigger groups, some bands are 4 people.
Right.
But when you get
Yeah.
6, 7, and then when you have like how you and Glenn manage the band. So then there's 2 more guys involved there.
Yeah.
And then you have your road crew and you have a sound guy. Like, it is a lot of people.
Yeah.
And everybody has to work cohesively or
Yeah.
else
Yeah.
it just fucking fails. If
Yeah.
one person in that entire scheme is fucking up or not where they need to be,
Yeah.
it screws everything. So
Yeah.
everyone has to work. And I think that's, going back to the communication thing. Like,
Yeah.
be straight up, and
But there's 2 parts to the communication. It's being able to communicate, and then also being able to receive the communication without. And I'll be the first to admit, I'll go off if you come at me and I think you're wrong or out of line. My first instinct's gonna be, fuck you.
we've
blah,
had
blah,
these
blah.
we've had these blowouts.
Yeah, me and Tony, we have fought, just about internal band stuff.
Yeah.
But like I said, there's nothing wrong with that.
No,
I mean,
it's healthy.
I see it all the time, and behind the scenes in the bar business, the biggest corporations in the world. I mean,
Yeah.
you go behind the scenes in those boardrooms, and it's fuck this, fuck that, and I've seen it. I mean,
Yeah.
everywhere I've gone or anything I've done, I mean, there's no everything doesn't just run perfectly all the time. That doesn't exist. So.
No.
So it's good to have. It's okay to have the tension, as long as you have a good way to deal with it and manage it. And
Yes.
So
Yeah.
if you have tension in your band, it's okay. Just figure it out.
And stay away from girls.
and girls stay away from guys in bands. I think,
Yes.
Right? Yeah.
When we return, we will discuss frustrations that stem from load-in and load-out procedures, and we also have a special appearance by James Lane from the Boy Band Night.
Saturday, Local H back at Bourbon Street. They haven't been here since the end of last year, I think.
It was last October.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah.
Which, like I was saying before, I like to do Local H once, maybe twice a year, and then sort of, that way you could treat it like, it's a big event when they come through.
Yeah.
Like we said before, you used to be in Local H in their camp. So, I mean, we've grown pretty close to those guys over the years. Such a great show, so don't miss that. It's only $5 at the door. And that's Saturday the 16th, this Saturday.
The last time they were in the area, they were opening for Metallica.
They opened for Metallica at Soldier Field, I believe.
Yeah. That's pretty big.
It's a big deal. Yeah. It's a big deal. Yeah, so that's going to be, we just had Third Eye Blind with Wish Fest, so now you got Judah and the Lion, Thursday, Saturday, Local H. A lot of good shit going on at Bourbon.
Yep.
And keep in mind that we are completely ignorant and uneducated on everything we talk about. So we're not trying to act like we're experts on any of this.
We are not.
We now return to your regular programming.
So For the last segment, or is this the last segment?
Maybe. Whatever.
So just to carry off of the tension, what causes problems in the bands, let's talk about like load in, load out, green room, for example, okay, say you got a show, start time's 10 o'clock, but you got to load in at 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
Which is then you got to, so okay, you load in at 4 and you got to you got to find something to do for 4 hours, 5 hours. And sometimes you might be far, you can't go home.
Yeah.
So it's like, and that does happen a lot.
That's where the drinking comes in.
So sometimes when there's nothing left to do, you just drink, right?
Yeah.
So that's not good.
Yeah.
The one thing that I see from an outsider is I always find it funny. So like the drummer has the most shit, right?
Yes.
So he's always pissed off at load in because he's got to carry all this shit in.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
My favorite is like, so he's carrying all this shit and then like the singer will come, or singers, whatever, will show up and they have nothing to carry.
Yeah.
They have like maybe a bag of clothes or something.
Yeah.
And they just kind of walk in. So there's already tension.
Yes.
The drummers already hates everybody at this point, no matter.
Yes.
It's automatic. So if you're a singer in a band, just know that when you walk in for load in, the drummer already hates you. Is that accurate?
That is accurate, but I've got to give credit. Andrew, our singer in the hair band.
Vega,
yeah. And I was in a band with him prior. He was never that guy. He was always there at load in or earlier.
I've seen him there early.
He's always carrying it. He'll carry your shit. He'll carry other people's shit. He's always there for load out. I've never, in the cover band world, I've been with him pretty much the whole time. So I haven't experienced this level of lead singers that I hear about all the fucking time.
Oh yeah. I just see it at, just being at Bourbon for 15 years of load in, load out. James Lane just walked in.
James Lane.
What the hell?
Speaking of lead singers.
Yeah, we're literally talking about you right now.
What's up?
Real
How are you guys?
Good, how are you?
Real quick, we're talking about when at load-in when the singers don't have anything to bring. So what James just walked in.
He literally
this was not
planned.
unannounced.
This was not planned.
Not at all.
So when you walk into a show, we're talking about how the drummer is usually pissed off because he has all kinds of shit to load in, but then the singer's kind of like, literally just like, you're almost just like moonwalking into the, like, hey, what's up, and go about your business. Don't help anybody with anything. I'm not saying you. I'm just saying.
Come closer.
Yeah, no, we try, but yeah, it's difficult because a lot of the times, at least for me, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't want to be in the way.
Sure. I
I'll do the lifting part and bring it up there.
Yeah,
but as far as like the setup and stuff, it's like I don't know how to tear down a drum set or anything like that.
For sure.
But once it's done,
You'll
I got
carry
no
it.
problem. Yeah, carrying it.
Yeah, that makes sense too, because there's a lot of guys, even guitar players, like you go to pick up their stuff to bring it on stage, and they're like, just leave it.
Yeah. Sometimes
just leave it.
Yeah. So maybe just say, maybe offer the help. If you're in a band, like if you're a singer or something, maybe offer your help, and then they'll say, no, don't worry about it. But then maybe that'll make them, feel better.
I don't know. Some drummers are still pretty grumpy.
Well, we're just talking about load in. Load out's the worst.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
Load out's when he's really pissed off, because this is, 8 hours later.
Yeah.
You've been at the club for 6-7 hours. You played the show.
Everybody's wasted around you.
You hung out for a little bit after the show.
Yeah.
You had a few drinks, and now you got to load your shit out. But sometimes they'll look around and be like, they're the only ones left, so no one's even there. To even offer help.
Especially shows here.
Oh yeah.
Where you're local, or you sit there and then 5 o'clock in the morning. You're like, shit, I'm the last one.
Yeah, at Bourbon, at clubs where the show ends and the bar or club is still open for a little while, everybody just scatters.
Yeah.
And disappears.
Yeah.
And then the drummer's left with like all his shit on stage.
On this gigantic 10-foot riser.
Yeah.
I mean, I see where they're coming from, but I mean, that's why we love our drummers, I guess. I mean, the other thing was like, okay, you're in the green room, you got a bunch of time to kill. Is it cool, in your guys' opinion, okay, should it just be the band, or, sometimes there's like a million people in the green room? Like, what do you guys prefer? Tony, what do you?
I prefer nobody. I prefer. I mean, just people that are like close to the band. All the guys in the band. They're friends. Like they're close friends. Not like stragglers. Yeah. You know, from out front.
I mean, James, like at boy band night shows, we've had shows where it's just a band chilling, but we've also had situations where it was like a complete zoo in our green room.
Yes.
Which depending on the scenario, the situation, if it's a show where you got a lot of friends, family at the show, it's kind of just like it could be chaos back there before and after a show. So I just it might be annoying to some of the guys in the band, and sometimes it's annoying to the club as well. Speaking from Bourbon Street, but I get it. At the end of the day, you want to. You want to take care of all your friends, your family. You want to have everybody have a good time. So it's kind of like, I don't know. It's hard to deal with because you don't want to tell people, "Oh, you can't come back here."
Yeah. It depends on your mood too. Like, if it was a really good show, you're like, "Fuck yeah!" It's awesome.
But afterwards, it's different. I think before it's. I think it's definitely better to just kind of keep it.
I agree.
Empty and just so you can get get ready for your show and just kind of not have any distractions. I mean, you can always, if it's that important. Go out and talk to your friends outside of the green room.
Right.
Kind of.
But then, like in your case, like the last show you guys did here was fucking packed. So, in that case, if you go to talk to your friends out here, you're gonna have 1,000 other people that want to talk to you and take pictures. Yeah. So then you can't even talk to them.
Yeah.
So it's like.
Well, sometimes that boils down to like, where's the green room at?
Yeah.
Like, so at Bourbon, it's right next to the stage.
Yeah.
So it's hard to contain and keep people, so it's kind of chaotic. At places where the green room's kind of off privately, it's easier to deal with.
For sure, like Joe's Live.
Yeah, like Joe's where it's like you need a code to get in. It's easier to keep that privateness. But I agree. I think the consensus would be before the show, it should just be like the band, maybe girlfriends, wives, whatever, can come in and out, mom, dad, whatever. And then after the show, you can be a little looser on it, I guess.
Yeah,
because people like to go back and feel like they're, getting a behind the scenes look of what's going on.
I just don't want anybody, like when I was drinking, what used to piss me off is you get off the stage and you want to have like
a beer,
and
it's all gone.
There's people back there like, it's like, I don't even know who the fuck you are. And you're holding my beer. Like, I want a fucking beer. That's all I want.
That's the worst, especially when you go on stage and you have a full cooler.
Yeah.
And then you're like, all right, I'm ready for this on the way back. And then you're like, wait a minute. The entire band was on the stage.
It's gone, man.
How the fuck did this,
For sure.
So that is frustrating.
So people just save a couple beers for the band.
Save 2 beers per guy in the band.
So what? 6-8 beers. Make sure we always, after the show, at least leave us a few beers.
Yeah.
If you come in, if you come in and out of the green room, any of the shows, boy band night, hair band night, Burgundies, country night, whatever we got going on.
If somebody in the band offers you, by all means take it.
Yeah.
But don't be like, oh, there's the Marshall fridge. I'm gonna fucking clean it out. Yeah.
I know the one person that sticks out in my mind that always gets pissed is Dave Ambrose, the drummer from Boy Band Night, because he doesn't drink before shows. Mm-hmm. And now he's the drummer, mind you, so he's already leading in everything where he's already pissed off that he had to set up his drum kit, and then he's gonna have to tear it down himself. And on top of that, he goes and he wants to just have like 1 or 2 beers after the show, and there's no beers left. It's almost comical, but I see where he's coming from. I get it.
Well, that wraps up episode 5 of our podcast. Please join us next week as we get the female perspective of being in a band, playing in a band, and dating somebody in the band by my girlfriend Sarah Cryer. And then I also asked Kenny some questions about the do's or don'ts about contacting a talent buyer. So we'll see you next week, and thank you again for your support.